What's going on, everybody? Been a diehard Pistons fan since '03 and eager to see this team getting back to playing winning basketball. I just got to thinking a moment ago. I've had this YouTube channel for about 3 weeks now, and we really haven't talked about Ausar Thompson that much. So, after the news yesterday, I figured today would be a good day to change that and make a video discussing Ausar. So, the reason why today is a good day to do so is because we did get confirmation yesterday, right from Langdon, that Ausar Thompson has been fully cleared for basketball activities. So, to rewind the tape and give everybody a little bit of a refresher and backstory, Ausar Thompson, of course, was the 5th overall pick in the draft last year. He played the better half of the season for us towards the very end of the year. He was ruled out and was unable to play due to blood clots. After the fact, we didn't get a whole lot of information on the blood clots or on the injury. Would you even call it an injury? I guess the problem. So we were kind of left in the dark as far as what was going on with Ausar Thompson and the blood clots. It was pretty scary because blood clots have ended the career of NBA players before. Chris Bosh pretty famously had to end his career early due to blood clots. But on the other end of the spectrum, there's players like Brandon Ingram who have dealt with them and have been able to fully return. For my very not expertise understanding, a lot of it depends on where the blood clots are located in yourself. So if you have like blood clots in your lungs, that's a lot worse for an athlete than having blood clots in, say, like your legs. But like I said, I'm not an expert. And after a ton of research, I wasn't really able to get any information on where Ausar's blood clots were located. But either way, doesn't really matter at this point because it sounds like he has been fully cleared for basketball activities. He's not playing at the Summer League right now, not because he's not unable to play, but due to the fact that he was just recently cleared to start playing again, and they didn't want to just rush him back, right, and say, hey, I know we haven't played basketball or been active for months on end, but let's rush you back to the Summer League and play 30 minutes a night of live NBA basketball. So that's really good news. That's amazing news. I'm happy for Ausar, not only as the basketball player, but as the person, especially because Ausar seems like just a gem of a human being. But just kind of want to talk a little bit about what I expect from Ausar next year, what I hope from Ausar next year, and how big of an impact Ausar improving can play on the Detroit Pistons and their future. So Ausar, of course, had a really good start to his rookie year. At the very start of the year, if you're looking at like the rookie of the year race or the rookie ladder, things like that, he was at 3rd place for the very start of the year, just behind Wembanyama and Chet. So right at the start of the year, he was doing amazing. Of course, his defense is where he really shines. The dude has unlimited potential as an on-ball defender. He's got crazy athleticism, which allows him to block shots. The instincts are there to go along with it, so he can stay in front of people and just put some of the top NBA wings and guards in jail defensively. So on that end of the court, it's just unlimited potential. Now, the problem with Ausar and the reason why it wasn't exactly a great finish to his rookie year and why he didn't even end up making the second all-rookie team, despite at one point being 3rd in rookie of the year race, is because offensively he's still got a long ways to go. He shot 18% from 3 this year, which was bottom of the NBA, right there with his brother, which isn't great at all. And outside of that, he, had times where his handle just looked questionable, right? Like he'd drive to the paint and it felt like he has a high dribble. So overall, like if those two things can get corrected, if he can tighten up his handle and also be able to shoot, he doesn't need to be Jason Terry or Peja Stojakovic from 3. He just needs to be able to hit like 32% of them. And that would make him like an all-star caliber player because he can do everything else defensively, and his athleticism allows him to finish around the rim pretty well. When he gets into the paint, he has pretty good touch. Even if he's like 10, 15 feet out, he has pretty good touch. A lot of times he'd get into the paint and do his little turnaround jumper, or just outside of the paint and do his turnaround jumper, and that was pretty cash. So overall, like it's such a swing right here, right? So Ausar Thompson could either not improve, which I don't expect, and be like a very good defensive oriented role player, but if he can figure out his shot and also his handle, the dude's going to be an all-star in the NBA. So when you're looking at the Pistons roster, you kind of can project Cade, you can project Ivy, you can project Dern, you can even project Holland a little bit better, even though we haven't seen him play. Ausar Thompson, like, the ceiling is so high, but the floor is also a little bit lower, which makes things really interesting with Ausar, and it'll be really kind of interesting to see his development as the years go on. When you're looking at Ausar right now, you can tell that he's put on muscle just from the couple of pictures and clips we've seen him hit at Summer League, and everybody who's around him on a day-to-day basis is saying the same thing. I recently listened to Ashton the Trainer's podcast with Ku Kahil on Locked On Pistons. Of course, Ashton is Cade's cousin and trainer, and he said that he's been seeing Ausar, and the dude's looking big. In this picture here, it looks like he grew too, because Cade's 6'7", and Ausar is 6'6", but he's standing close to the camera, and you know how that goes with pictures. It's maybe I'm dreaming, but if he did, that'd be also pretty awesome. So overall, like, if he's able to put on some muscle, I think that'll help him defensively. It's kind of a myth that, like, putting on muscle will hurt your jump shot, and either way, there's no way that his jump shot could be any worse than it was last season. Langdon, in his interview yesterday, also said that he's been working with Fred Vincent, the new Pistons assistant coach, player development coach that is famous for being able to improve jump shots after his time in Orlando, working with guys like Herb Jones and Lonzo Ball, making them go from really poor shooters to really good shooters. So if Ausar is able to put on some muscle, get better defensively than he already is, and improve his shot, year 2 is going to be really, really good for Ausar, and that's just all I'm hoping for. I really want to see Ausar be successful because I really like Ausar the human, and Ausar being successful will help the Detroit Pistons basketball team immensely. Because like I said, the ceiling is so high. If he's able to figure those couple things out, if he's able to even get a little bit stronger, able to hit 33% of his threes, and be able to actually not make the defense just completely ignore him when he's out there, that would be huge. It would also be interesting to see if a coach does anything different with Ausar than what Monty did, if Bickerstaff does anything different. Because there's a few thoughts and ideas I have about Ausar maybe setting more screens and rolling to the hoop more often, or hanging out in the dunker spot more often. But that's really hard to do when Jalen Duren is also on the floor, because that's just a spacing nightmare. Maybe there's a world where Isaiah Stewart's playing the 5, and that stretches the floor a little bit and allows Ausar to be the roll man more often, or more time in the dunker spot, because he can catch lobs, he provides vertical spacing. Maybe that's also a thought and a route that we could go with Ausar. I don't really know. Overall, I'd still just like to see him be able to shoot the ball to the point where teams aren't able to completely disrespect him off the line. I think ultimately that would be the best outcome. But if that's not able to work, maybe a coach can be a little bit more creative with him offensively than what Monty was. And defensively, he's already there. He's already a defensive stud, so I'm not worried about that whatsoever. So yeah, kind of just a one-off video here, just talking about Ausar, because I haven't really been able to share my thoughts on him as a player too much on this channel. Funny enough, it's kind of weird. We definitely made videos on Cade. We talked about Fontecchio in depth. We talked about Duren, especially since we had a couple of videos about him with Team USA. Didn't really get a chance to hop on here and just talk about Ausar. Really no direction with this video. Kind of just wanted to inform you all that he's been cleared for basketball activities and fill you in on where my head is at with Ausar and his development and his future. So I'll catch up with y'all soon.